Hello everyone and welcome back to Animation Pilgrimage, the show where Tennille and I take a look at every single theatrically released animated film in chronological order. I'm Whitney.
I'm Tennille.
And today we are back in Japan with Sanrio once again as they give us the movie The Sea Prince and the Fire Child.
Or, otherwise known as The Legend of Sirius.
Which would make sense because the main character's name is Sirius.
Yeah, but I mean, The Sea Prince and the Fire Child is also a suitable name.
Mm-hmm. Because it's all about a sea prince and a fire child.
Yeah.
Or fire princess.
Yeah, I don't know why they go with Fire Child when she's like of the same rank he is.
Mm-hmm.
Either way.
And I just gotta say, wow, this is a movie that wants to be more important than it actually is.
Yeah.
Everything about this movie holds itself as a very grandiose, important event that is happening in your life right as you experience it.
The framework for the story is Romeo and Juliet. So we're already dealing with something that, like, already fits that category, is thinking it's more important than it actually is.
Mm-hmm.
Which, you know, in general, Romeo and Juliet is probably one of the most misunderstood Shakespeare plays out there. Because it's, in the cultural consciousness, tends to be seen as like, ooh, it's this grand love story. When really, it's more so of a tragedy/comedy.
Mm-hmm.
The love story is not...
The part that you're really supposed to focus on.
Yeah, right. Like, yes, it's a love story, but it's not a romance.
No.
And this kind of falls under the problem of adapting Romeo and Juliet because it thinks it's a romance.
Yep.
Anyway, do you want to get into the plot?
Yeah, how about I tell out the plot?
Yeah.
Once upon a time, there was fire and water, and they were deeply in love, and also siblings. Don't worry about it. We're moving on. And then they had a brother who was like the wind god or something, and he didn't like that they spent all their time together. So he spread nasty rumors until fire and water hate each other, and they don't spend any time together, and all of their children are not allowed to interact.
Right.
That takes us to present day.
I already have a problem with this story structure giving us this backstory here at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's already set up the tragedy that's going to take place.
It's very obvious.
And it's just like, okay, you just told us the whole story here. There's just a lot wrong with this whole story structure. Continue.
Sirius, the sea prince, becomes king of the sea. His dad is like, I'm retiring.
On his 16th birthday.
Yeah. And he goes and meets Malta, the fire princess, who is destined to become the queen in, like, a few days.
And there's a lot of, like, extra mumbo-jumbo.
I'm cutting all of that out.
Where it's like, oh, the sea children aren't allowed to go into the taboo waters, and the fire children are keeping this sacred flame alive that
pacifies the water or something.
I guess.
Like,
yeah.
Me saying the sea prince meets the fire princess, we're already 30 minutes into the movie.
Yeah, like...
There's a lot of nothing that happens in this movie.
Uh-huh.
Anyways, they fall madly in love. And everybody hates that. As you might expect.
Everybody disliked that. And
so they are forcibly separated, but they are helped by both of their best friends / siblings / we'll talk about it more later. So that they can escape to the sky on top of some cotton balls on a very special solar eclipse day. Both of the friends die and it achieves nothing.
Extra bullshit in this movie. Oh my gosh.
Anyways, they missed their chance. They missed the cotton balls. Sea Prince wasn't able to get there in time. And then the solar eclipse happens, which transforms the Fire Princess into the new Fire Queen. And I don't know how much of her I can show you because she's naked. Anyway, Sirius is an idiot and kills himself by sunlight because he's a water child and they can't touch the sunlight for some reason. So he dies. Malta's very sad about this, so she grabs his body and jumps into the ocean, which kills her because she's not allowed to touch water. Mm-hmm. And then the parents are there and they're like, "Aw, that was really sad. You know, maybe we shouldn't have fought all these years. Look at their true love. We'll let them escape to the stars like they wanted, but now they're dead and they'll live on forever in heaven or something."
So, something like that.
And then the two clans lived happily ever after, as told by this dumb turtle, who's been around for 1 billion years. The end.
Yeah.
That's the plot. It's just a very basic Romeo and Juliet thing where...
I mean, Romeo and Juliet's pretty basic.
Yeah, it's like... two different clans that hate each other, and then two people from each of those, or like a person from each of those, falls madly in love. They even have like the best friends of the family dying, which just spurs on the hate. Well, I guess it doesn't really spur on the hate as much here, but
it kind of does in Malta's case.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Yeah. So, okay, we got to talk about Malta's best friend.
Malta's best friend is a lesbian and in love with Malta.
Yep.
Explicitly said, "I love you."
Oh, it's not subtle at all.
No, she's like, "Yes, I very much so am in love with you, but I see that you are totally not gay, so I'm going to let you escape. And I'm going to kill myself to give you some time to run away," which lasts like 10 seconds at best.
It gives them like maybe 30 seconds.
So this movie gives us our second instance of
bury your gaze.
Bury your gaze, which is a trope that I'm sure is going to come up a lot. Mm-hmm. And wow, 1981, let's have gay representation, but we're only going to do it through bury your gaze.
Yeah, we're going to do it twice and poorly.
In case you can't tell what that trope means, it means having a gay character that dies.
Yeah.
You kill off the gay character.
Mm-hmm. Ugh. And both of them in this, like, that have shown up for this year have been cases where they kill themselves because
they can't be with the straight main character.
Right, yeah.
Which isn't great.
Oh, no, it's awful. And then the other best friend is like the sibling to the sea prince, and it's like a child, and the child also ends up killing themselves, but not in as direct of a way. They do it in a like, I have to go release this.
I gotta release the wind god brother who's been sealed away in the ocean for a really long time.
Because it's the only way to get you free. So they die a more like
accidental tragic death.
Right.
Well, accidental. They're both kind of tragic.
Yeah.
Also, summoning the sea god does nothing because Dad shows up and kills him instantly.
Yeah.
So it's like, this didn't have to happen.
The story beats in this one all feel like...
And then this happened. And then this happened. And then this happened. And then, oh, we need to stop that because otherwise we can't have this happen.
It feels like there was like 10 writers on this, all trying to like put in their own ideas. But that really wasn't the case. This was written by Shintaro Tsuchi, who is the founder of Sanrio, and has also written the Nutcracker Fantasy movie.
Which wasn't all very good either.
No, and will write a couple of other films that we're going to see. But yeah, this story is not good, but I do want to take a moment to talk about some of the positives of this film.
Because there are some positives.
Yeah, and that's definitely the art direction.
Yes, this movie is visually very fun and very pretty to look at.
Yeah, if you can just turn your brain off and know that the story is not going to be anything spectacular, there is a lot to get out of it through the art direction. The art direction can be breathtaking. It can be clever sometimes. Like, it's pretty interesting. And one of the things that's the most interesting, and I wasn't sure how I felt about this choice to begin with, but I think it grew on me as the film went on, is that, like, the Sea Prince is a
very warm color.
Is a warm-colored character, and then the Fire Child, Malta, is very, like, seafoam green.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, that's kind of like a cool color palette thing to do.
Dichotomy, reversal.
Whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of, like, these really beautiful Fantasia-inspired, like...
Oh, yeah. In case you couldn't tell, this movie's Disney. It's another love letter to Disney.
Oh, yeah.
The Sea Prince is just Peter Pan.
Yeah, it's another one that feels like Fantasia fanfiction.
Mm-hmm.
And
Again, I'm totally okay with this.
The Sea Prince takes a lot of mannerisms from Peter Pan. So, I mean, that's fun. And then this was directed by Masami Hata, who will also go on to direct Little Nemo and Slumberland.
Okay.
Which is a film we'll watch, and I think like 89 is when that comes out, so that'll be quite a ways away from now. He also directed Ringing Bell.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, I really don't have much else to say, though. It's a long movie.
It's an hour and 48 minutes.
It's beautiful, but its story structure is just not great. What I was trying to get at earlier with the whole tragedy thing kind of spoiling itself at the beginning is that, like, this film feels like a misunderstanding of trying to adapt Romeo and Juliet.
Okay.
And yet it's also playing into the tragedy aspect, but without really emphasizing that part. It still wants you to think, like, hey, this is a love story. But then there's just kind of the tragedy there because Romeo and Juliet is a tragedy, and it doesn't really understand what to do with that. So it doesn't really feel like it fits in with the film. I don't know. Nothing in this film really works for me story-wise.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
One other little small thing. The visuals are amazing, but there is literally no lip sync.
Oh. Yeah.
The characters will open their mouth or shut their mouth, and they'll leave their mouth open for a long time while they speak, but they don't. There is no lip sync, or even half the time lip flaps to match up.
And to be clear, we watched the subtitled version of this, so there's no real reason why that would be.
Yeah,
it's
was
not
all
like
in
we were
Japanese.
watching a dub and they weren't matching up.
No, like they just didn't even attempt it in the first place. Probably because the movie was so goddamn long
Yeah,
that
maybe.
they didn't have time to work on lip sync.
It's just really bizarre because there's so many other, like, beautifully animated sequences and, like, character animation and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
The lip sync seems like a small thing to be like,
No, we don't need that.
yeah,
I don't know. It could have helped.
oh. Well, either way.
Either way, I think that's going to be it for this review. I would personally say skip it unless you just want to look at some pretty visuals and not really pay attention.
Yeah.
But next time, we're staying here in Japan, and we're going to watch Enchanted Journey,
Oh boy.
which I had to look up what the hell that was before we started this.
That could be anything.
Yeah,
It could be literally anything.
it's about a squirrel or a chipmunk.
Oh, okay. I was almost expecting it to be another Sun Wukong adaptation.
If only. Anyways, see you guys then.
All right.